was lucky enough before I moved here to have some introductions. So I already had a bit of a network when I got here. Who I am, big question. It's actually been one of my least favourite questions when people ask you, where are you from? I'm a complete mongrel. My father's English, Irish, Scottish. My mother's French, Dutch, Swiss, Bermudian. So I'm all over the place. When I moved here 9 years ago from Bermuda, I understood that this is a very international city, but it's also quite hard to get your feet on the ground to kind of really get settled. And fortunately, I'm quite good at having lived in lots of different countries and speaking lots of different languages. I managed to get quite a good little ecosystem here. I came from, before here, I worked for the America's Cup in Bermuda. And then before that, I was in London working kind of in hospitality for Fortnum & Mason and working in the travel industry. So it's quite a nice relief to be here. And it's taken 9 years to get a job that actually fits everything that I want to do. Initially moving here, I didn't have the best German. Now it's improved. And that's a big step, obviously, in getting that job that you really want to get.
Yeah.
So, that's me in a nutshell.
Before we get to the job, tell me about Bermuda. Tell me about the triangle.
Yeah,
Everyone wants to know about the triangle.
You know.
How is it seen over there? Like, what do people talk about? Do they think, the rest of the world keeps talking about this bullshit, but it's not true? Or...
Yeah, like aliens, whatever. My take on it is that it is a magnetic field. And actually, triangles obviously like that. And the tip here is Bermuda. So we're actually quite far away from the triangle itself. But yeah, that's, you're not going to go to the island and find a bar called the Triangle or something. I mean, the logo for the country, tourism, is a triangle, but that's as far as we go on that. It's not really a topic for the island, but yeah.
I see. But what is life like there?
I mean, it's mainly insurance, reinsurance, in terms of business, finance. It's become a great location for sports, right? So it's like the whole island is essentially a golf course. Yeah. So all the big contests are on the island over the year. It's also huge for tennis. We actually brought tennis to the US. So if you're into diving, obviously there's a lot of shipwrecks because the island was originally found by complete chance by a sailor and his crew. They hit the reef. We're surrounded by a beautiful coral reef. And some of the people on board decided to stay and not go home. And they would then see boats from afar, signal, come here, come and get, And then the same thing would happen. They would then, fall onto the reef. And yeah, that's kind of how the island started. But it's beautiful. It's a complete haven. We have pink beaches. It's a British colony. Really strong infrastructure. It's great. The only thing that I have, a little issue, is that it's a little too far to get to from here. I mean, distance-wise, it's like 6.5 hours from London. But, in a day doing that trip, it's like a 14-hour ride, which is quite long.
So, wait, you fly there from London?
Yeah.
There's direct flights?
Exactly. I mean, you can fly from the US as well. And British Airways are the only airline to fly from the UK.
So it's like, when you're there, it's like when you're in the UK. So
we do have the dollar though, which is quite confusing given it's a British territory, overseas territory. But yeah, the king is on our notes, or should be. Was the queen, obviously.
And it's a dollar. Is it?
We have the Bermuda dollar and the US dollar as well.
That's confusing.
It is confusing. Yeah.
And you lived there until 9 years ago, you said?
I moved there to work for the America's Cup. I always went to school in England, and that's also why I sound as British as I do.
I was going to ask about the accent. Can you tell us why some people are feeling strange about? So that's how people from Bermuda talk, or it's because you grew up in England?
And that's from growing up in the UK.
Okay.
Yeah.
Where in the UK?
I was born in Oxford. I lived in London, but I went to school in West Sussex and in Somerset. And then I went to university in Nottingham, where I studied Russian. So I did French and Spanish when I was really small. And then when it came to university, I was like, oh, I don't really want to do a language that I already know. And yeah, Russian, I think it's a beautiful, fascinating culture and language. So yeah.
Does it help reading Dostoevsky in Russian to enjoy more?
I mean, I have to tell
it's
you.
the opposite. It makes it worse.
Yeah, you should really do it in the original. I have to say I cheated a little bit in my literature module. And,
Okay.
I shouldn't have done that. Sorry.
And how do you end up in Vienna after all
Well, when I was studying Russian, I lived in St. Petersburg for the year, and I met an Austrian there. He was at Columbia studying. We kept in touch for years. And then when I moved from London to Bermuda, we reconnected. And after the America's Cup, he said, come to Vienna. And I was fortunate enough to have come here for work before. I worked for an airline. So I did lots of fam trips with media. But it was different when I came to visit him. And then, next thing you know, I moved here. I packed my bags and I was here in a heartbeat.
That was 9 years ago, right?
9 years, yeah.
What was it? What did you expect from Vienna back then, and how is it now, 9 years after?
I was told that it was a very slow kind of city/country. I was quite grateful that I went via Bermuda, where everything is also quite slow. But it's old-fashioned, I was warned that it's kind of 10 years behind the times. But I've grown to appreciate that that's actually a wonderful thing about the city. I think it's quite hard to find somewhere like that these days. There's so many hidden gems here, and every day I'm discovering new things, new people. And that's something to really, I don't know.
Well, especially the 7th district where we are now.
Yeah, I have to say I moved here. When I first moved to Vienna, I was in the 7th. Then I flirted with the 3rd for a couple of years, and I went back to the 7th.
It's an amazing district, and I saw one of the streets now has they just removed a lot of parking spaces again.
Yes, so that's ruffled some feathers, obviously.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah, for example, the person I moved here for, he's not happy about that. His road is one that was taken over by the trees. And he's a car driver himself, so but now we appreciate it. We have kids, it's a much safer district to be in with less traffic, for sure.
So you have a daughter, 5-year-old, right?
Yeah.
How is she?
Well, her German is better than mine, which is a little bit embarrassing. But yeah, I mean, she's fluent English, fluent German. She's at a kindergarten that's bilingual. That's another thing I have to say about the city. A lot of the schools and kindergartens are bilingual. That was very important for me. I also don't particularly want to be in charge of teaching her how to read and write in English, for example, and they're doing that already, so that's great. But yeah, I mean, it's super safe. It's green. I would say the only thing is I have a dog, so a lot of the things you want to do with a kid you can't do with a dog. So I'm kind of dealing with his busy social calendar and hers, and trying to make everyone happy.
For example, you cannot go into kids' park with the dog.
No, you can't. And people definitely let you know that you can't. I used to be quite naughty and take my daughter out of the pram and then put my dog in the pram, which kind of got some looks, But I was like, he's, no paws on the ground. I'm not doing anything too badly. But people, that's the other thing, you have to get used to people giving you feedback regularly. In London, people just let you go on with your business, whereas here people like to let you know. Which again, it's nice to have that contact. And you just have to learn to kind of, just take it on the chin.
It's funny how Alexandrians are famous for minding their own business, but then sometimes you're surprised how much they don't mind their own business in these situations. But I think it's kind of a Western European attitude. I saw it. I was telling you, I was in France last week and these 2 days. So it was by the beach, and someone was going out of the parking lot and they hit another car. Yeah. And then just a bypasser just saw them, and then they went by the window and didn't want to let them go. Yeah, okay. So there was, you just hit the car. I mean, I don't speak French, but you can tell that it was about that. Like she was holding the car so the person wouldn't leave. Yeah. And then the person sped off and they left.
Oh
And,
no, so she didn't win.
yeah, she didn't win, but
Sad end of the story.
I was wondering. I mean, I would feel glad if someone had done it for my car, for example.
Yeah.
But then if you ask for an advice or for something, then they don't give you any.
It's very true. It's true. But there was a situation. There was a guy on. I was on the U3, and he was pretty wasted. And there were children on board, and it was quite nice to see that two people kind of got up to say, look, I think you should get off at the next stop. And then there was a little bit of like toing and froing, and, you know, then they got him off actually. And I thought, well, you wouldn't get that in London.
Yeah.
People would just maybe leave the carriage or just ignore it. But I think there's a line, right? Like if there's someone that's really disturbing the environment or is proving to be, you know, tricky when they're like kids, for example. Yeah, I appreciate that. But at other times I'm like, I need to know. I already know. It's like if someone says, oh, you look really tired. It's like, why would you ever tell someone that? Like, of course, we're all tired. We don't need to be told. My goodness.
How does it make me feel better? Does it put me to sleep so I can recharge or something? No. And how did you end up at the cover where we are now?
I actually had 3 friends say that I would be great for the role.
Take note, everyone. You need a referral to get a job.
Yeah, it's true. That is true. It's all, word of mouth. And I came in and I loved the team. I was already very familiar with the Max Brown. So the club.
So maybe let's start from explaining me what is this all. The whole thing.
The club, the concept.
The club, and where is it located, the concept, so how does it work?
Yeah. So the Cover Club is actually part of a hotel group called the Circle Collection. So it's headquartered in Amsterdam. There's 20 plus hotels around Europe. And after COVID, the property in Barcelona, which is a 5-starer, they thought, okay, there's going to be lots of people needing to co-work now because we've all been stuck indoors for way too long. So they started the Cover in Barcelona and it was a big hit. And then obviously Max Brown here. So
the Cover works as a co-working space.
It's a co-working, it's a members club, but it's more about people that are culturally eager to kind of learn, be part of a community, learn from a community. So we have about 15 events every month. We also engage with our members. We do lots of events with them as well in conjunction with them. The co-working space, obviously, we have a beautiful terrace that in the evening now 7 North taken over. So 7 North is the delicious Israeli restaurant that's within the hotel. And so now you can eat outside. But yeah, we work, obviously we're in the hotel, we're part of the group. So, you know, if members, when you're a member, you get rates at all the restaurants and the hotels globally. If we have a club if you don't have a club in a city that you're visiting, we have, you know, partner clubs that we work with. So we have kind of 80 plus clubs around the world that you can access all for free. So it's basically, you know, it's somewhere that people can feel as home, where they can meet new people when they move to this city or reconnect with old friends as well. I mean, I'm from Bermuda, as you know, there's 60,000 of us, and there's a Bermudian member here. You know, I mean, that's crazy. I was like, that just goes to show, you know, the connection that this club has.
It's something that I would like to mention as well that I really liked when I joined the club is the gym.
Yeah, there is a gym.
Which is included in the price of it, but it's a real gym. It's not just a corner with a yoga mat or something. It's a real gym that you can use to work out. And basically, the way I see this concept, you can spend a whole day here and get a lot of work done. And there's... explain me a little bit the facility of the Cover Vienna. What do we have here?
So,
besides the restaurant?
Besides the restaurant, so we're from 8 in the morning until 11 o'clock in the evening. There's obviously the gym that you mentioned and changing rooms. There will be a spa as well that'll be opening hopefully in the winter. We didn't really see the demand for one in the summer. And then as you come upstairs to the first floor, there's the room that we're in now, which is the study. There's also a boardroom. These are all rooms as well that can be rented out privately. And then there's a big co-working space as well. Then there's the kind of foyer, and that's where members can bring 3 members in with them. You can work from there, have drinks. And then, obviously the terrace, which is open for co-working, for dining. We have lunch as well during the day. But that's just for members, obviously, and for their guests.
You also have a beautiful theater downstairs.
We do,
which I love.
It's incredible.
We just shot a part of our documentary there that we're doing. There's also a lounge area next to it. Would you like to call it a living area?
Yeah, exactly. Well, there's a snooker table and roulette and couches. Yeah, we can also
a lot of typewriters.
Yeah, we like the old school here. It's a very quirky hotel, and there's a little area as well for outside where you can smoke or have drinks, whatever it is.
Yeah.
But there's 2 ateliers, so they both build into, it's 2 separate rooms, but they can be connected into one. That's where we like to do all of our Pilates and yoga, breath work, workshops, cacao ceremonies, and as you said, the cinema. So we're doing screenings at the moment throughout the whole of the World Cup. It's very exciting. And then obviously there's a 7 North restaurant as well. So if you're a member, you get a nice little discount on that.
What kind of people do you have here? Sorry.
In the cover.
Yeah. Obviously, no need to name names.
Yeah, well, you being one of them, you're like the prime. It's mainly people who are creatives, people in the startup world, people who travel a lot, so they don't necessarily need to have an office. We also have a lot of people in wellness, for example, because there's 3 pillars to the cover. So culture, business, and wellness. So if you're working or interested in any of those fields, then, the cover is the place for you.
What can people expect, for example, to get when they join the club?
Well, it's obviously the access to all the other clubs and hotels and restaurants around the world, but it's also to the people. We have a lot of members who have fascinating stories. They work in interesting industries. So it's about striking up interesting conversations with people, whilst also reading a book and working out and,
Yeah, you have also a few books here that I saw around the place. But the architecture is stunning. It's the same design everywhere in every cover.
It's different, but there is someone who's in charge of design. Also, we have one of the owners of the hotel. This is a lot of the items here come from his collection. He has a great eye for detail. So
nice.
We're very lucky. Yeah.
Nice. But let's go back a little bit to your time in traveling and moving to different countries. I like to know from people, do you think they would be a different person if they didn't move this much, if you only stayed in one place? What do you think would your life have been if you didn't move from the UK in the first place?
Yeah, I would probably be living in the countryside, like in the suburbs with, a golden retriever and 4 kids. Yeah.
Well, I have a golden retriever in the city, so...
Yeah, he hasn't come. By the way, we are dog friendly here.
Okay.
Why has he not come?
He will. He will. I just found out that it's dog friendly.
Yes.
I didn't know that it was open.
We have a few dog members.
Okay.
Yeah. No, I don't... I've never even thought about that, actually. Yeah, I don't think that I'd be living life to the full. But I've always been, from the day I was born, I was partially raised by a Spanish family. I went to a French school in London and I went to boarding school from 7. So I've always been on the move. I've always kind of been living out of a suitcase, as it were. But obviously, now that I have, my daughter here, and this is somewhere that you can really base yourself, it's great.
What does she like?
What, when she's not eating? Talking non-stop. She doesn't like swimming yet, and I'm kind of giving up on that. And coming from an island, it does make me a little bit anxious. We were just in Greece for a few days. And I was just always keeping my eyes on her, saying, "Why won't you swim?" But she loves tennis, like so many Austrians do. She's part of a tennis club here. And she just, what is nice is that you can just call a friend, a parent, at any time, be like, "Hey, what are you doing in 2 hours?" It's very spontaneous. Whereas if I was still in London.
Here in Austria, it's
yes,
spontaneous.
I think so. At least the people I hang out with.
You're the first person I hear that from.
Really?
Yeah.
No, I find everything's quite loose. Whereas
you're gonna have a lot of comments on the internet about what it is. Everyone's gonna say, you call someone for a coffee, they give you the calendar to book in 2 weeks from now.
No. Okay, no. That's not happening in the seventh district.
Wow, introduce us to your people.
Well, I will come to the club. A lot of them are here all the time. Yeah.
Wow. It's that's one thing that a lot of people that move here, especially from Eastern Europe, that we're not used to planning so much in advance for. We're used to formalities. If you book an appointment at an institution or office somewhere, of course. But if you just want to hang out with someone, it's
really okay.
A 2-hour thing. No.
Okay.
Never happened to me in these almost 6 years here in Austria.
Okay. One thing I would say is that people are very punctual here, right? There's no room for people that are a little bit late. I'm Swiss, so I like to think that I'm quite timely.
Yeah, sometimes you're on a call, you join the Zoom meeting. Let's say it was at noon, and if it's 1 minute past noon, you're like, is this person going to join or not?
You get 10 missed calls from everyone on that
Yes,
call.
it's just 1 minute when you think about it. It's not all, if you're sitting, because when you're on a call, it's a bit weird because you're also alone at home and you're just waiting for the call.
Yeah.
But if you're in a cafe, you would happily wait for 5-10 minutes. It's not a big deal.
Not a big deal.
But it's strange how the same time is seen differently based on the environment where you are.
Yeah, fair enough. No, I get that.
But yeah, it's true. Mostly here, people in Austria are mostly very punctual.
Very punctual.
Which is, again, something people from Eastern Europe struggle to cope with at first when they move here, and then we all adapt. That's a good thing about Austria, that typically people tend to, I don't want to say integrate, because it takes a lot of meanings inside, but to adapt to the environment. Do you think you're more Austrian or British?
Ooh la la. Well, right now, because the football's on, I mean, Austria just won, so I'm like Austria, but I'm watching Switzerland tomorrow, and so if we win, I don't know. No, the Austrian way is definitely rubbing off on me, for sure. Yeah. I like a tradition, like the way that families are raised as well. In the UK, there's a lot of this getting help from nannies or babysitters, whereas the concept here isn't really there. And I like, I think you're raised very closely to your family. Grandparents have a big role to play in bringing children up, and I think that's rather lovely, actually.
How were your parents like when you were young, and what did they do, and what was your weekend with them?
Well,
you have siblings?
I do. I have a brother. He's 7 years older. He's also been on the move a lot. He's a tech entrepreneur. So I think he's actually just landed down in Spain as of yesterday. Okay. I went to boarding school from 7. So my father was a politician in the UK. So that was kind of, he's also a writer. So he was busy doing that. And my mother was a big traveler. So I didn't actually spend that much time with them, but I'm, making up for lost time now. Yeah.
But you mentioned your Swiss part, UK part, Bermuda. So can you maybe translate it into passport and citizenships? Which ones?
Swiss.
Swiss.
Yeah, Swiss and UK.
Okay,
Yeah.
you don't need Switzerland allows having more than the Swiss citizenship.
Yeah, because my mother's the Swiss and my father's the Brit.
Okay, you're allowed. Here in Austria, a lot of people are having trouble.
But you can in Austria as well, if both of your parents.
If you have it by birth, right.
But this is the thing; it's always a bit of a blur.
Yes, exactly.
The rules are always changing. It's complicated.
This topic is always like when someone does it and they say I did it this way, and then you go for the same thing and but it's different, and it's not very clear.
It isn't. No, I also think that's not just with Austria as well.
We were doing an event with International a while back. I think it was about taxes and taxation and things like this, and then I promoted in a WhatsApp group, and I said that this is an event for internationals who were not clear about taxation system. And then a few Austrians respond, can we also join, because it's not clear for us.
Okay. How was the attendance?
It was very good. Okay. It was really good.
Okay. Did everyone come out with a clearer vision?
Yes, that's a good thing about in-person events, not just getting to know more people, but also having a chance to ask your questions based on what's going on right there, because we do have technology. We do have ChatGPT and Claude now, but you ask the questions. First of all, you don't know if it's accurate.
Yeah.
And if you test it with things that you know, for example, you can see that some answers are not correct, and they don't do the search as they're supposed to sometimes.
Yeah.
They're great for different things like building technology, but sometimes for some information that is complex and fragmented all over the internet, it might not be perfect. So also people realize when they're in the room where the event is happening that something comes up, and then they remember there's something that connects to them, that relates to them, and they have to ask something about that. But before, you cannot think of asking the same thing just because no one puts that in your head that you might be needing that. Or, one of the topics, for example, was the insurance topic. How often, I never done it to ask what's included in my home insurance, for example. I signed it once in the beginning. I just renew it, and I don't know what I'm actually eligible for, or it's just there because I have to. It's in my contract. But then this insurance topic started in our last event, and there were so many things to discuss and include it. We didn't know that also include accidents that can happen to us outside of home. We're
hopefully you will not have any of those.
Hopefully not.
Touch
yes. But you basically don't know what you don't know.
And if you don't speak the language as well, always have a translator with you, I think, when you have to have these kind of
But here's the thing with the translations. You can translate some things and still not make sense to you. You see, when you go in finance online, you switch to English and it still doesn't make sense because it's the vocabulary you use that it's very professional and you need to know to use it. That's when it comes in hands to have someone to ask and explain it to you and really give you the answer that you're looking for to your question. And you handle all these topics.
And then you're also, right, you're like a board for this. Part of your mission, I suppose, is to make internationals feel like
definitely
they know how to live well here.
I've been doing these events for a while now, monthly events, and people are happy that they can attend and have someone to ask what they're looking for. But how do you handle this type of things, the complex information?
I mean,
do you have a person you always ask, or you use the internet or AI?
I have friends. I have a lot of Austrian friends, so I was lucky enough before I moved here to have some introductions. So I already had a bit of a network when I got here. I kind of knew what would be hard and what wouldn't be. I also navigated a lot of it on my own. I'm very independent as a person. I like to trouble solve. So, there's ongoing topics. So there's also, people will tell you, oh, you have to do this, you have to do that. And actually, no, it's just how they do it, right? It's so I think it's also working out that the information that you get also might, take it with a bit of pinch of salt, basically. But no, it was all through friends, to be honest. People who are from here really helped me. That's it. There are a lot of kind people here who are willing to help. And also, they want you to stay, right? So,
What's one thing that you expected it to be easy, but it turned out to be harder?
I would say The job market, for sure. I used to have really great jobs and great salaries. And again, I was made aware that, there's a bit of a cut on that and that it is harder, especially if you don't have the language. So I have to say I was pretty arrogant on the language front. When I moved here, I was like, whatever, I'm Swiss from the German-speaking part of Switzerland. I've got French and Russian and Spanish, whatever, easy. And it's a hard language. And I've had great roles here. I worked for the Female Factor, and I worked for a company in New York very, very recently. Salary was incredible, but it just didn't tick all the boxes. I want to be around people and I want to enjoy the city, which I wasn't doing. I would say the language was like the hardest thing for me. But when you overcome that, it's fine. But I think also if you're living in another country, you should integrate, you should try. It's just a respectful thing to do as well. Not only does it help, you daily, but yeah, I would say the job and the language.
How are you doing with your German now? Do you speak German now?
Yeah, it's not bad. It's all right. I mean, I look at my daughter and I say, I'm like, can you tell me what is that? What's that word that you just see? She's like, Mommy, go to school. It's like, I've been to school twice. We can learn from each other here. Yeah.
Do you think you'd be able to get a job full in German by now?
Fully? I mean, I'm B2 right now, so I would say no. But a lot of these companies as well internally speak English.
Yeah.
So I think it's a lot of that. It's fine if you have both of the languages, but if it was a very traditional Austrian company, I think I'd find it too hard. Yeah.
There's some people who moved here around the time that you moved here, a little bit earlier, say that Vienna changed a lot. So even if it's still hard to get a job in English here, it changed a lot from 20 years ago. They say that 20 years ago was almost, it was only the UN, the only place where you could get jobs in English, and was not as open as it is now anyway, which shows how it's improving. But also I kind of get it also with the tourism part. There's this sense of not making things very commercial. There's in Austria or Vienna, you can get your projects rejected with the comment that the project is too commercial. I got that once, and it was a project that was supposed to be very economically beneficial for Vienna. It was rejected because it was too commercial. And I said, what's wrong with that? Do you want to boost the economy of the city? But then when you travel in some other cities, I made a stop in Paris on my way back here yesterday, actually. And it had become a disaster. It was packed everywhere, and I was thinking, well, I guess that's it. There's no more Paris as we read it in the books. It's gone.
Yeah.
It was everything. The problem is not that there's full of tourists. The problem is that the city itself adapts 100% to fit the tourists that come in.
Yeah.
So the streets change, the services change, they become worse. You don't get the authenticity anymore from the city. And I was telling to the people I was with that, look, this is, now I understand why sometimes they say in Vienna this is too commercial, because also there's a thin line between making it too commercial but still keeping it viable so it can work. Because if you just open it up completely, then it's going to be very hard for people who live here. And I could see, taking Paris again as an example, the whole central Paris is impossible to live there. Traffic is horrible.
Does, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess so, but no one does. But I was looking at the Google Maps, and we were just 3 kilometers away from our destination, and it was showing 20 minutes. Which that doesn't happen in Vienna, though. It's hard to find parking, but that thing does 3 kilometers in 20 minutes in the city. It's crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a way bigger city, but it's crowded and
and then all the people that should be living in the city are living further out because obviously the cost of everything is so much more. Yeah.
It's so somehow I get it as well, and we're from the ones that moved here, but then it's funny how it gets to a point that okay, let's not overcrowd it. So let's take people in, but not so many.
Yeah,
we're not supposed to say that, but we end up thinking that at least.
Yeah.
Or let's pick the good ones only.
But that's what I was saying. That's the wonderful thing about the city, that it still feels quite quiet. It's old world.
Yeah.
When my friends come and see it, they're like, wow, because I think it's always been affiliated with the kind of older generation. Maybe, people that have a higher income who could afford to go to the ballet or the opera or whatever it is, stay at the Bristol, whatever 5-star hotel. No, I think it's very inviting to, especially with the universities, it's really geared to like looking after younger citizens, and younger travelers. But I think it's always had that impression and reputation of being, old school, right? Like Grand Dame. But that's a great thing about the city.
Well, one thing I wouldn't mind them changing from old school to more modern is more places accepting credit cards.
I'm like, thank you, COVID. When COVID came, I was like, yes, finally, you're going to be able to pay with card. I mean, there's a lot of places still that's just cash. It drives me crazy.
Yeah, you have to run to find an ATM because how do you find cash? Yeah.
We have one here in the hotel. But like otherwise there isn't one. You have to walk to Maria-Hilfer-Straße, which is just crazy, or go to those dodgy ones you had to pay €3 at, which I'm not going to do. Yeah.
It should come to being a choice if you want to use cash or card. I think the best way is to have both opportunities, because I also don't like the places where they don't accept cash. And I think in London that's happening a lot.
Yeah. And they're not trying to get rid of money, but it's less and less for sure.
But,
American Express, for example, that still is rarely taken anywhere. I think because the charges are higher. But
when you travel, especially outside the EU, I would prefer to use cash. So I'm safe and I don't use my card and there's no fees. So I just prefer to use cash. But within Austria, I would prefer to use the card because I don't get cash here in any way. It's just everything in the bank.
Yeah.
And I have to withdraw all the time. And if the anxiety you get when you realize that you have cash with you,
and it's just gone.
Yes, it's gone.
Yes.
Because even when you withdraw to make the payment, you just withdraw a small amount.
Otherwise you spend it.
Yes,
on nonsense. Yeah.
You have to make it a routine. You go every month and withdraw a certain amount of cash, so you have it. But then how much? And then how you going to keep it always with you? And then you cannot add another routine because it'd be too exhausting to think of that as well. So best way would be to have more options for credit card.
Contactless. I'm with you 100%. The other thing is if you don't have an Austrian bank account, but like a German one, for example, your card isn't accepted at, say, vending machines. Or,
oh, really?
Yeah, which I find, I only know that because at the bottom of my building, there is, there seems to be a thing here, a trend, where there's these rooms.
Yeah, the 24/7
vending machines, buy noodles or whatever it is.
Yeah.
But I can't get anything because my card, I have a German, I have a N26, so it's like an online bank.
That's right. I think a friend of mine, an Italian friend of mine, came to Vienna a couple of weeks ago, and he wanted to buy cigarettes in one of these places, and he didn't accept his credit card, he didn't accept his ID, and it's even within the European Union, and I was there with him. I gave him my card, of course, but I think they associate the card with the age of the person because the card reader is able to read the person and obviously the age, because that's where it comes to the age restriction. You have to prove the age. But
well, you can get a separate card there, can't you? Because if this issue happens, you can go into like a tobacco somewhere, and usually the person behind the counter has one of these cards that tells them the age if you don't have a local bank card.
Well, we were stuck at 2 a.m. in Otta Creek.
What was going on there? Where was mine?
I live there, so we're just coming back home late. So it's we just got stuck, and I know many people get stuck because a lot of friends of mine who move here, I meet them the next morning and say, I couldn't smoke anything when I went home because I couldn't buy cigarettes.
For sure. And also eating is a bit of an issue. There's only sausage stands open at that hour.
Yeah.
Whereas, you go to any other kind of metropolitan city, restaurants are open much later. Also, if we're going to go down that line, it's how restaurants are closed on Mondays. Shops being closed on Sundays. Oh my goodness.
Yes. I was going to, that's actually something is starting to, that I'm really not happy with the things being closed on Sundays anymore. And I'm sure that businesses wouldn't mind working because they would be selling a lot more, but it's a tragedy. You go out on Saturday afternoon or Sunday and everything. That's the only time when you can go shopping and
I know.
buy
but then
stuff.
the whole of the city is doing the same thing, and then you get the kind of
and then they complain that everything is purchased online. Yes, because nothing is open when I can go out shopping. Stores close at 8 on weekdays. I leave work at 6. I need 30 minutes to commute. I'm extremely tired, and I have to rush shopping because it closes soon.
Yeah, I mean, imagine being a tourist.
Yes.
You don't know.
Terrible.
So you're like, what? So what does one do on a Sunday? I mean, the museums are open, great.
Sure, well, that's one thing, but
yeah.
If I like something that I see on the store, and you say, it's consumerism. Well, that's what being a tourist is.
Yeah, for sure.
Otherwise, just lock it and nobody comes in as a tourist anymore.
Yeah.
But it comes down because businesses have to pay employees double, I think, on Sundays or something.
Okay.
They have to pay them more.
Right.
So if the government would just relieve the businesses from this burden or something, it would be much easier.
Yeah.
And then it would just become a shift, because some people say, well, they work on a Sunday, they deserve to have Sunday off. Sure, but it comes to shifts.
Exactly.
I mean, hotels don't close and still have people working on Sundays. Some restaurants don't close.
Yeah.
For supermarkets, it'd be the same. I don't think it would really help a lot of people, especially people with kids.
Yeah.
It'd be very helpful. Then you have to go on these shady small U6 markets that stay open.
Bouncers out.
Yes,
I just want some milk.
Yes.
Yeah.
There's always the worst kind of products there with the most expensive prices.
Yeah.
There's no freedom of choice at all.
Yeah.
You just take what's there. There's milk. I don't think they even have to have brands. They just have to write milk, sugar, butter, and that's it. You don't need brands if you only have one choice of brand.
If it's there. I mean, the Austrians love bread, right? So even if you go to the supermarket Saturday at 4, see you later. You're not going to get some fresh bread.
Yeah. So I don't know how it is going to be, but I would love to see some more. See, that's the thing that feels like it's missing. A little bit more of a vitality and vibe on life and openness in general. Maybe stores, if they would close a bit later on weekdays and be open on weekends as well.
Yeah.
People would be more on the streets, because you end up seeing a lot of streets in Vienna completely empty after 8 p.m.
I know. I have to say, it was quite nice. After Pride on the weekend, I was walking home. I chose to not take the Straßenbahn, and I walked, and it was so nice to see people out past midnight, smiling, having a good time. You know, it's like, in London, most streets are busy on a Saturday night or whatever. Same when it was the Eurovision. You know, that we actually hosted here at the club quite a few journalists, and they said, you know, not much awareness going on in the city. There's no advertising, really. You know, there was kind of that tram that went round, the party tram, and, you know, there was some ads here and there. But I think that's something definitely that needs to be worked on for sure. But, you know, with the Eurovision, it was just awesome to have this, like, energy. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think the city's doing more and more events like that, right? And also, like, all the art, you know, like the affordable art fair that came on. Like, there's a lot of these art shows, for example, that aren't happening anymore because of funds. And it's nice to see that there are some, still coming. And I think that we need to support those big events when they come.
Definitely. It's also for the tourist part. It's really imagine you purchase a ticket, you buy it, you pay for the hotel, and you come here and everything is. Even if you come here to attend one of those events, then okay, the event is over, so we have to do something for the rest of the 3 days that we have here. Yeah. So what we're gonna do?
And then you got Sunday and Monday.
You get Sunday and Monday. Just gonna hang out in restaurants all day.
Yeah.
Even some restaurants are closed on Sunday.
Yeah, and obviously on Monday.
Yeah, that's something I would really like to change.
I'm with you.
Here. Supermarkets open until 9:30 p.m. on weekdays, maybe restricted hours on weekends, but at least something. Maybe up to until noon or something, but it's we kind of got used to it.
Well, I learned about this cashback system. In the UK you can get cashback anywhere where you say, can I get £50 and you get it. Here I was told that there's like particular like DM do it and Billa do it. But actually, it's always up to the cashier.
Yes. Oh, they have to give you cash back.
Well, I don't know. I've been rejected a few times. I don't know if I look dodgy, but, they're like, oh, no, we're not doing that today. And it's like, of course. And I just walk away and I think, sometimes that no mentality gets under my skin a little bit. But,
But I never tried that, actually. Actually, something I always forget about, because you can get cash back when you don't find an ATM machine. You can get cash back in a supermarket or something that is closer to.
Give it a go and you'll see. Yeah, it's.
So you just go to the cashier.
Yeah, but see what they say. It's always a different response.
I need to figure this out. It could also be very interesting news.
Yeah.
I'm sure many people don't know about it.
They do now.
Because when you think about withdrawing cash, you only think about an ATM machine.
Mm-hmm.
Or mostly, you obviously think about other sources as well. That you're telling me, but the most common ones are ATM machines. I should look into this deeper. I will test it.
Yeah, do
it. But they probably have a limit, right?
Yeah.
50 or 100 euro or something.
I'm taking 100 out.
Oh yeah.
I think 100 might be the max. Or use the cash machine here in the max pound.
If I'm here for sure, If I'm here for sure, but it might happen that I'm. It might happen that I'm not at the cover at some point in life.
What would you be doing otherwise?
That's probably just trying to find a parking spot for the car.
Yes, this is true.
Yeah, it was. I had to go run many times. Earlier this morning.
I have a feeling that the city is going to be like one of the first cities in the world to go carless. I reckon. Not the entire city, but I reckon, like First District, for example, which is already...
Yeah.
It's quite hard to drive there.
I hope not. Not because... I don't like to use the car on weekdays at least. But Vienna it's not a small city to do that. So it's not a city of 200,000 inhabitants. It's a big city. It's more than 2 million people living here.
Yeah.
You cannot do that to a city with at least 2 million people. Yeah. Also, it has to come to a point for them to accept and understand that some people need the car to work with, especially when it's raining, especially when you have to do many things at the same time. You have to carry things like I was doing this morning.
Yeah.
How else am I going to take them from A to B? It's so many things. The bike, they don't fit. Plus, I cannot ride the bike because I recently had an operation. What's the solution? You go with a big box in the Straßenbahn. They don't let you in. They say you have to go out because it's too big. So you need the car. You need to park the car near the place where you're going to offload it. So they shouldn't really. I understand it's good politics and produces votes if you just tell we're gonna make it green everywhere, but I still see a lot of sidewalks that have plenty of space for trees, which we don't have in Vienna. Trees on the street.
True.
Which is, by the way, something though. Despite all the shit I talked about Paris. there was something weird when I was walking, and then I realized, oh, there's trees on the street. That's why it's not very hot here.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's also a version of making it green, not only cutting from parking spots.
Yeah. I'm with you. My dog would definitely enjoy more trees.
Also that.
Yeah.
Because it's a fairly dog-friendly city.
Yeah. Well, dogs get served before you in restaurants, which I've always enjoyed.
Yeah, they get their plate of water.
They do.
The bowl always comes first.
Yeah.
Interesting times. Yeah.
Indeed.
Let's see what's coming up for Vienna.
Yeah.
I thank you very much for the talk. I even forgot that we were recording.
We are?
Yes, we are. We are. Thank you very much. It was a pleasure.
Likewise.
And I'll see you around at the cover.
Please.